Greetings from Bangalore University. NEP 2020, and there is a paradigm shift in the education sector of India. As a matter of fact, we have to understand and appreciate the National Education Policy Draft 2019 brought out under the leadership of Dr. Kasturi Rangan. This document contained 484 pages with elaborate policy postulates and the logic behind each postulate. After understanding and reading all these things, then we have to make an attempt to understand the final document containing 66 pages, that is NEP 2020. This document contains brilliant promises and daring proposals to transform the entire landscape of education in India, right from pre-KG to PG and beyond. As a matter of fact, there is a significant departure from Lord Macaulay's colonial policy in the education sector, and after independence we have also witnessed two important policy documents, 1968 and 1986. During 1992 some tweaking was done and started implementing these things, but with the mixed results. After 34 years we were lucky enough. In fact, National Education Policy 2020, the punchline is nation first, character must. Another important aspect of NEP 2020 is focus is not on the qualification but competency based education. It means if a student is qualified, it is not enough. He or she must also be competent. Then a question arises, what is the difference between qualification and competency? Qualification is normally measured and assessed in terms of documentary evidences produced by the candidate in the form of marks cards, degree certificates, and cumulative grade point average. In the corporate sector, many of the vacancies are left unfilled, not for want of qualified candidates, but for want of competent candidates. Competency is made up of 5 critical ingredients. One is knowledge, second one is attitude, third one is skills, fourth one is habits, the fifth one is values. As far as knowledge is concerned, the focus is on domain-specific application-oriented knowledge, that is K. Attitude means positive mental attitude. I can, so I will. This kind of mind shift is required. The third one is skills upgradation. National Skill Development Corporation has already stated that India is rich in terms of human resources, but are they truly resourceful? Mostly not, because of the problem of de-skilling of Indian human resources. We can encash the demographic dividend only when we are in a position to reskill and upskill the human resources. So it means skill development assumes top priority in the entire gamut of NEP 2020. Then the next aspect is H, that is habits. Positive, constructive, result-oriented habits acquired within the portals of the higher education or any educational institution will be carried forward to the workplace to become positive and result-oriented work habits later on. So habit is very, very important, learning habits. The last one is values. Values left in our children touch their destiny more than valuables left to them. As a matter of fact, this is nothing but KASHV, K-A-S-H-V. These 5 ingredients jointly and individually will make up the fabric of competency-based education according to NEP 2020. Another important feature of NEP 2020 is focus is not on the output but the outcomes. So it means student learning experiences, student learning outcomes, graduate attributes, attainment of these graduate attributes at the end of the program, then ultimately shaping and reshaping the graduate profile of a student. So ultimately it is not what to learn, but more importantly how to learn will assume a lot of importance. That is possible through experiential learning, multidisciplinary, holistic development of the personality of a student on 5 dimensions: physical, mental, intellectual, social and spiritual well-being, and the development of the personality of the student. Then multiple entry and exit opportunity, academic bank of credit, so that you can accumulate credit, encash the credit and transfer the credit from one institution to another institution within India. and also from India abroad. That is the flexibility here. So ultimately, student choice and flexibility is the biggest virtue of NEP 2020 for the first time in the history of India. All these years we focused only on education and employment, and employability was put to the back burner. Again, NEP 2020 is re-emphasizing the significance of focusing more on employability so that the students or the candidates will find employment, or they create employment opportunities for themselves through self-employment and entrepreneurship initiatives. That being the case, Atmanirbhar Bharat aspirations of India will be achieved. It means a student will pursue this 4-year multidisciplinary holistic undergraduate program with a sense of purpose, pride and direction. Another important aspect of NEP 2020, to cut the long story short, is community engagement of the learners. It means skill-based, value-based courses or the subjects or papers will be introduced, and service learning will assume a lot of significance. It may be NSS or NCC, where the student is getting hands-on experience. He or she is engaging in the service provision aspect. It is not just service but also learning. There should be a perfect blend of service and the learning. So that service learning approach is being introduced here. Then project-based or problem-based learning. Then blended learning. It means the student should make use of what you call open learning resources, distant learning mode. Then under SWAYAM platform, you have got massive open online courses. Then internships, project report, and industry academia collaboration will assume a lot of importance so that the unpleasant gap between theory and practice can be abridged in a meaningful and effective manner. That is what transferability credits. And in this connection, another important point here to be noted is in Mangalore University, we have taken several steps to implement NEP 2020 from the academic year 2021-22 meaningfully and effectively. Among other things, the first one is we took advantage of the model skeletal curricular structure, model syllabus and model regulation developed and endorsed by the Karnataka State Higher Education Council through curriculum committees and subcommittees. And later on, with the help of this broad framework, Mangalore University placed all these ideas in our respective board of studies, later on faculty, then academic council, finally the syndicate. The second aspect initiated by Mangalore University was special invitees from industry, academia, civil society, alumni were invited to deliberate upon the content of the syllabus, the ways and means through which we can reform the pedagogical strategies, then evaluation mechanisms. So through this multi-sector participation in syllabus content preparation was very handful for the university to bring out a better curriculum structure and the curriculum content. The third issue here is the content design, development, delivery and evaluation mechanisms were in place. Then teacher being the game changer, teacher's role, relevance, outputs, competencies were properly highlighted. Then we could enlist the student support, the support of the student organizations in implementing the entire process. And pedagogy wise, we adopted a formula called 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. It means 1/3 online teaching learning evaluation process. Another 1/3 physical, conventional, face-to-face classroom learning, that is C-learning. The third one is 1/3 experiential hands-on learning through which the student will get practical exposure and also understand the gap between theory and practice. And the major focus was on formative assessment rather than summative assessment or the semester end examination. For formative assessment, we have allotted 40 marks and the remaining 60 marks were for summative assessment or semester end examination. through this, a teacher will be in a position to continuously assess and measure the knowledge assimilation process of a student, the deficiencies, whether he is a fast learner, slow learner, or average learner, and corresponding remedial measures to be incorporated in the teaching learning evaluation processes. The fourth element introduced by Mangalore University to navigate the entire implementation process was AIDA model, AIDA. A means awareness, the next stage is interest, the third one is desire, creating fire in the belly and mind to excel in whatever we do. Then the last one is action. So it means several workshops were conducted for the students, the teachers, the governing council of the institution at cluster level, because Mangalore University has got 215 affiliated colleges, 5 autonomous colleges, and 6 constituent colleges spread over 3 districts, Kodagu, Udupi, and Dakshina Kannada. So these kind of massive awareness campaigns were undertaken, and we had a very functional task forces, and we have appointed nodal officers in each college and also in the university. The director of the College Development Council along with his team could see that this awareness and preparatory mechanisms were properly carried out, and ultimately we also developed frequently asked questions. It was prominently displayed on the Mangalore University website. So it means through these mechanisms we were in a position to win the hearts and minds of all stakeholders. It means students, teachers, public representatives, then parents and the guardians of the students, and everyone, media persons, all these people. The last aspect here is we held on to a notion that is continuous learning, improvement and development, and focusing on addressing specific issues rather than beating around the bush. And ultimately we experienced several problems, and broadly we classified all these problems of implementation of NEP 2020 in our Mangalore University jurisdiction into 3 compartments. First category, problems with full solution. Second category, problems with partial solution. It means solvable component and unsolvable component. The third category, problems with no solution. If your problem doesn't offer any solution, according to me, it is not really a problem. It becomes a condition of our life, and we must know how to live with it. So it means our focus is on solution generating mechanism rather than magnifying the problem or romanticizing the problem. Therefore, I used to tell my stakeholders, look here, never try to become part of the problem. Try to become part of the solution. Either you will end up with full solution or partial solution. If there is no solution, then we must know how to live with it. Then only we can make things happen. Ultimately, in the entire process, I could come across 9 critical elements in any higher education institution, including Mangalore University: people, structure, task, technology, culture, strategies, systems, processes, and environment. If we manage all these critical elements, they will become Navaratnas, failing which they will become Navagrahas, and we will be surrounded with a lot of problems, difficulties, impediments, retarding factors, and stumbling blocks. So as a matter of fact, here we could handle all these things, strategies, systems, all these things, and ultimately the challenge is mindset is the challenge and implementation is the key. So it means all these years, we were very comfortable. We used to take things very lightly. But as far as implementation NEP 2020 is concerned, we have to take it as religiously as possible. There should be a mind shift. That is possible only when we convince the people, look here, there are greater benefits. And we are implementing the NEP 2020 in a phased manner. Therefore, there will not be any compulsion or imposition. This NEP 2020 was deliberated upon 5 to 7 years, and humongous efforts were involved, and the policy document contained democratic, participative, inclusive and consultative approach. More than 1 lakh suggestions were received over a period of time, and the people in charge of finalizing or fine-tuning the draft NEP 2020 of 2019 took lot of care to see that most of these suggestions or ideas were properly incorporated into the final document. That being the case, Karnataka state became the first state in the entire country to implement NEP 2020 in the higher education. And Mangalore University, to tell you frankly, did not lag behind in this wonderful program, and we did not leave a single stone unturned to see that NEP 2020 is being effectively implemented from the academic year 2021-22. And we also adopted a democratic, participative, consultative and inclusive approach by involving each and every stakeholder connected with the higher education system in Mangalore University. And we adopted what we call a strategy of building on success. One step forward, three steps backward. And the idea was every time one step ahead. That is the foundation stone of continuous learning, improvement and development. With the result, we were successful in introducing 4-year holistic multidisciplinary undergraduate honors program from the academic year 21-22 in Mangalore University. And we also introduced new papers or new courses like several open electives so that students can choose and take the advantage of these open electives not only within the faculty but also across the faculty as far as possible. And to tell you frankly, the digital fluency paper was intending to create a kind of digital connection because today we are surrounded by what you call digital natives. Those who are born before 1950 could be dubbed as what you call digital aliens. But today you don't find any digital alien in the education sector. Those who were born between 1950 and 80 could be called digital immigrants. With a lot of reluctance, they will embrace the idea of digitization process, connectivity, and taking the advantage of ICT infrastructure with a lot of compulsion, of course. But our students and young teachers are belonging to the digital native category, those who were born after 1980 till date. So it means we had to come to terms with the digital divide, particularly rural areas and other places, and we could handle somehow this kind of digital divide, and we could impress upon the college management to strengthen their digital infrastructure. That being the case, we are also thinking in terms of introducing one more 2-credit paper, that is financial literacy. Financial literacy is very, very important because the students must be capable of managing their personal savings investment plan so that they can improve upon their standard of life and standard of living in a very meaningful and societally effective manner. Then as far as several steps or logistic support criteria adopted by Mangalore University are concerned, there was certainly initial resistance to change. Based on my small research, with my Mangalore University experience in the implementation of NEP 2020, I could come across 4 important reasons as to why they resisted initially the implementation of NEP 2020. The first one is lack of understanding the change, what it is and what it is not. The strategy was spreading awareness, frequently asked questions, task forces, and arranging several workshops and toll-free numbers, something like that. The second reason was lack of motivation to undergo the change. What is the incentive? What are the benefits if we embrace the policy postulates and daring proposals of NEP 2020 in our institution? It was done by educating or through the art of convincing. My philosophy is either you have to convince me or I will convince you. There should not be any hit and run cases. That strategy became very successful. The third reason was fear of change. All these years we were very comfortable. We are not ready to get out of the comfort zone unless we are fully convinced, and you must overcome the fear. Here the idea was you are safe, but if you are feeling unsafe, at the end of the day, perception is more important than the reality. Therefore, the real challenge was correcting the incorrect impressions held by all our stakeholders about the benefits or the dangers of partial implementation or non-implementation or slow implementation of NEP 2020. That way we could manage it. The fourth reason was lack of trust in those people who introduced the change. It may be the government or the university or the governing council or the management of the particular education institution. Here again, winning the hearts and minds of the people. so that it was also successfully handled. Therefore, Mangalore University also encountered initial resistance to change, saying that we are all right even without it. Why should we invite problems and come to grief later on? We have not done proper preparatory steps or all those things. So why we are hurrying up? We could have waited for one more year. Something like that. It means we wanted to take shelter under lame excuses. I said no excuse for not doing it. We can, we will. What we require is confidence building measures and positive mental attitude. Then we strengthened and we accelerated what we call monitoring and tracking processes by adopting another model called PDCA, plan, do, check, action. So that everything was based on time-bound, target-oriented implementation. All these years, because of the non-implementation or partial implementation or slow implementation, we could not successfully implement 1968 NEP or 1986 NEP or some tweaking which was done during 1992 based on learning by past mistakes. We are very careful. Therefore, we used to reposition and refocus on the implementation, and we developed a rally team. And in most of the platforms, I used to say, Vice Chancellor is only first among equals. One person cannot put up a beautiful show. Therefore, team is very, very important. Team building was given a lot of importance. And regarding problems, yes, a person without problem is found only in graveyard. Therefore, we should be smart enough to convert the problems into opportunities, in turn, opportunities into challenges. That we have done it. Ultimately, never put the cart before the horse. We have to create conducive, convenient atmosphere before the implementation of NEP 2020. We never imposed NEP 2020 on our stakeholders. Then my philosophy is face the problems upfront. Never procrastinate or never run away from the problem. That is what we have done. And in some of the cases, yes, still we are having some of the problems because teething problems will be there. Here, my strategy is let me cross the bridge when it comes to me because I will not run away from the problems. Ultimately, we were given a lifetime opportunity to implement NEP 2020. During our own lifetime, we got this golden opportunity, so we did it. But another thing was COVID-19. We could survive the first wave and second wave, and we are experiencing the third wave now. But we did not panic. We never back out from the process of implementation. Ultimately, show must go on. And COVID-19 created an era of radical uncertainty, undoubtedly true. At the same time, on the positive side, it may be on the downside. On the positive side, it also opened up a new window of opportunities. That's why the students, teachers, parents, and everybody started appreciating and internalizing with what you call online teaching, learning, evaluation mechanisms. Of course, we had initial hiccups, but later on we could adapt to the changing circumstances. It's a beautiful positive side of COVID-19. Ultimately, we can make it a successful venture. My suggestion is here, we have to fill up vacant teaching and non-teaching positions as expeditiously as possible. Karnataka government has become more positive than ever before to undertake this initiative. The process is taking speedy dimensions now. Then another one is private-public participation model, because we cannot expect everything from the government or the government agencies, maybe financing support or any other infrastructure support. For example, Mangalore University is badly in need of one swimming pool and another synthetic track for our 400-meter track. But we cannot expect funds from the government because of COVID-19 and other financial emergency. That being the case, if government encourages and if the university syndicate permits, we can do what we call public-private partnership model through which we can meet all these exigencies in a highly befitting manner. And we are also signing several meaningful and functional memorandum of understanding, not only within India, but also abroad. And we are also taking the benefit of alumni to the venture of implementing NEP 2020. And then finally, the support from private colleges and other institutions in implementing NEP 2020 is really wonderful, and it's highly encouraging, because I told you already we have got 215 affiliated colleges, 6 constituent colleges and 5 autonomous colleges spread over 3 districts of Kodagu, Udupi and Dakshina Kannada. We have got around 1 lakh students pursuing their UG and PG programs. We are also having around 100 international students from different 34 countries around the world. And we have got government colleges, private aided colleges and private unaided colleges. The biggest challenge here is balancing the conflicting expectations of these multiple stakeholders, because Mangalore University had to create a level playing field, and the situation is not the same in all these types of institutions due to a variety of circumstances. Ultimately, while implementing this kind of new initiative after 34 years with lot of hopes, everybody will come across several constraints and difficulties. But the point is, initially there was the issue of workload. All the teachers started resisting, saying that our workload should be protected. But as a matter of fact, we did not focus on workload. If we focus on only workload, the fate of NEP 2020 will be nothing short of the fate of earlier NEP 1968, 1986 and 1992 tweaking measures. Therefore, workload was taken care of, but the philosophy of implementation of NEP 2020 without tears. So it means NEP 2020 implementation in fact increased the workload of the teachers, but with a different focus. Then they were fully convinced. For example, digital fluency or financial literacy papers and other open electives can be taught by anyone. Those who are having shortage of workload can be oriented and reoriented. They can be given a kind of training or workshop arrangement, so that they will become more confident than ever before to teach this subject, because there is no high funda or there is no rocket science technology in that. Everybody, only thing is willingness to learn is very, very important, and teachers could be convinced on this matter. Then ultimately, to cut the long story short, I can say 3 C's were very, very important. In all my speeches to my stakeholders, I used to say, you have to demonstrate 3 C's. The first C is courage to fail. No problem. You can commit mistakes called positive mistakes for the purpose of continuously improving your success or the performance. And you cannot win all the time. So it means courage to fail is very, very important. Second C is confidence to win. I can, so I will. Never procrastinate. There should not be any ignition or starting problem. Do it now. You fail. Do it again. You fail better. So confidence to win is very, very important. Third one is conviction to succeed. It means don't say that, government is compelling or Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is compelling. Nobody is compelling. Motivation should always come from within. You must be convinced. Self-realization is very, very important here. That is the best antidote to sort out all the ills of our self-doubt and other things. Therefore, conviction to succeed. So, courage to fail, confidence to win, and conviction to succeed worked very well. And finally, I adopted 10 C's model. It means cooperation, pull or push from all the directions. So, cooperation, coordination, coordinated efforts from all the stakeholders, collaboration to compete, collaboration to make things happen. Then commitment, not just involvement, commitment, never throw the baby along with bathwater. So that kind of commitment was there. Then communication, there should not be any communication gap. I have to make others understand in the same way as decided by me. So communication hurdles were removed. Then consultation, it means I am not a Sarvajna, I do not know many things. So that we must be inquisitive to know more and more about the less and less of those things that matter from others. Improvement lies where the actual work takes place. Therefore, consultative mechanism was used very liberally. Then counseling. Counseling means help in times of difficulties. Never develop cold feet. If you have got any doubt should be exposed. It can be sorted out so that it can be implemented with a sense of purpose, pride and direction. So counseling was given. Then conflict resolution. Next C was conflict resolution. conflicts will be there. As long as the nose is the part and parcel of your body, you will never be liberated from the problem of mucus and sneezing. Let us accept it. Let us admit that. Then now you improve upon the worst. It means conflict can be resolved for the successful implementation of NEP 2020 at every level. Then conscientiousness. It means conscience. Address your conscience. Listen to your inner voice. And watch carefully your inner ethical compass, so that you will be right before you sit down, understand where you are standing. So that C was nothing but consciousness. The last 10th C adopted in my model of successful implementation of NEP 2020 at Mangalore University was nothing but consolidation, wrapping up all the other 9 C's, so that nothing succeeds like success. At the same time, I did not forget, nothing fails like failure. Therefore, we were very, very cautious, and ultimately we adopted 7 O's, VOWS, nothing but Saptapadi. The first one is upward spiral of trust, because trust begets trust. If you start doubting yourself, you cannot take it further forward. If you doubt the capability of the teachers, or doubt the capability of the learning aspect of the students, or the support of the management of the colleges, then definitely we will be aborting the idea before its birth. Therefore, upward spiral of trust was the first one. Second one, publicize success. If you get 10% success, you publicize it, so that it will be spread like wildfire. So it means, normally I say that bad word of mouth travels faster than good word of mouth. Therefore, take care of the bad word of mouth. Always spread good word of mouth. We can, so we will. Publicize success for the second one. The third one is plugging the loopholes. There are certain deficiencies and loopholes. We should not take much time to see that all these loopholes are properly plugged. The fourth one was, what is nothing but share the credit, because we must be able to share the credit. If there is any failure, as Vice Chancellor, I should be the process owner. If there is any success, I have to share it. That is what I have done, it, share the credit among all the stakeholders. Then the fifth one was nothing but listen to people, what they don't say. Sometimes, they don't say, but they have that kind of thing. We must be smart enough or intelligent enough to understand what they don't say. That I adopted through gathering intelligence information from our stakeholders. Then the sixth one was nothing but all these years, in the past, we were trained up in answering the following questions. But here I impressed upon all my stakeholders, now there is a paradigm shift. Now the time has come to question the answers, because critical thinking is required. We have to give a lot of importance inside the classroom and also outside the classroom to have exchange of thought process between the teacher and the taught. So it means create a kind of imaginative environment in the classroom and outside, so that next stage is creativity, and eventually it will lead to what you call innovation, innovative outlook. That was very, very important. The last seventh one is nothing but implementation. That is here, 1% improvement in 100 ways is always better than 100% improvement in only one way. This was the master stroke in the successful implementation of NEP 2020. Thank you for your time and opportunity. Jai Hind and Jai Karnataka.